Okay, I've put some videos together from this month's Jules Yoga Challenge that I've been doing. This series has a focus on the pitch, yaw, and roll of the foot, the shin, and the thigh to change the outcome at the hips. So here I am seated on a chair, kind of in a 90-90, and then playing with the tip and tilt of the chair to change the pitch, yaw, and roll of the foot and the shin and how that impacts me at the hips. So here's one way you could explore that concept is using the chair, tipping it towards and away from you, and feeling how that change in the pitch, yaw, or roll of your foot and shin changes what happens in your hip joint. You could also explore it in butterfly. And here I let the heels be off the chair and just the forefoot on the chair, which again, then when I tip the chair towards me and or away from me, it changes kind of the space that I have to move the on torso pelvis on the thigh bones. Then I kind of explore, then I come into this 90-90 and I use blocks underneath the edges of my feet. So automatically block underneath the edges of my feet is going to put a lateral pitch and or a sense of a yaw into both the shins, which changes how the hips feel, or you know the movement of the pelvis on the femurs. Then I can kind of angle the blocks and again now let the front or back of my foot hang off the block, which now puts a roll into the shin and a yaw into the foot, which is again going to change what happens at the hip. And maybe you don't agree with me of whether the foot is yawing or the shin is yawing or rolling. It doesn't matter, but these different either front to back motions, side to side motions, and or along the vertical axis motions change what happens at the hips when we have those motions change at the segment of the foot and or the shin. So this was another great place to kind of explore how it impacts the hips. Then I come on to the slidey surface, and oftentimes in order to rotate into something like a goddess pose, people will say push the knees out, or there's a heavy emphasis on external rotation. But instead here on the sliding, I play with this sense of at the heel, spinning the heel forward and how that changes how I'm able to move at the hips, even makes me want to dance a little. So again, coming down to the foot and kind of splitting the foot into a front and back to work what happens at the hip. And then last but not least, I worked with a yoga strap. And so here it's around one side of my pelvis and below the knee at the shin, across the other side. And then as I kind of play with where that strap loops around that leg, it inputs into my hips very differently. So if I have it up close to the knee, that's a different amount of yaw that happens at the shin. And I just really focused on which helped me sort of settle more. Then on this, I'm still on the opposite side, but this time I changed where the tail of the strap was going. So then with it pulling towards the hip, it biases more of the thigh bone versus the shin bone and the movement of the shin bone. So when the tail pulls towards the knee, I'm putting a direction into the shin bone. When it comes around from the opposite pelvis to this knee and the tail is pulling to the opposite hip, I put more direction into the thigh bone. And each of those is going to impart into the hip, pelvis, and sort of our ease in sitting differently. So then I came onto the other side and again pulled the tail towards the knee, which puts a direction into the shin more than into the thigh, how that translated up into my hip. And I'm just feeling for that sense of really grounding and anchoring through the leg and the pelvis, and the sense of ease and lightness through the torso. Then I flip it around so the tail pulls towards the hip, which is going to put um, direction more into the thigh. So give it a try. Let me know what you